It's the start of something. Can I start the podcast with that? It's the start of something new. It feels so great
might risk
to be
losing
here with you. Whoa. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode, we have a very special episode because
We have a special guest.
we have a special guest. You know her. She is beautiful. She is awesome, full of faith, funny, has a great smile. She is my wife.
Aww.
Nice.
Cute. Applause. Just kidding.
Grace. Yes. So by the time this episode launches, it will be her birthday week. And you're turning 21.
Yep. Golden age.
Yep, growing in age. So we wanted to take some time.
Not actually 21, by the way. I feel like it's confusing because we're Asian.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Sometimes you're like, they're surely in their 20s and they're like in their 40s.
Yes. But we wanted to ask Grace anything. And on our Instagram, we were asking people to send in questions. So we have a list of questions, and I also mixed in some of my own to make it fun as well.
Nice.
So really, this is about learning more about Grace, but also hopefully from her stories, her experiences, she can share some of those lessons that can benefit us all.
Great. I have no idea what lessons those will be, but we'll see.
Well, knowing how deep you are, I think you'll pull something.
Okay. Yeah, this is fun.
How do you feel?
Let's do this. I feel nervous, excited, and nervous at the same time. This is fun. I feel like I'm on a talk show. Like you're like Oprah. I'm Grace, and you're just interviewing me. And hopefully, either this will be weird or entertaining or interesting or inspiring. Who knows? Maybe all of the above. Hopefully.
Yes. Do you want to warm up your voice by singing "Start of Something New"?
I'm okay.
Okay. That was only for me. Her voice is already warm. Okay, so let's start off silly and light. So I literally just thought of this question. This is not even in my notes. But if you could, first question is, if there's one food that you could eat for the rest of your life every day, what would that be?
It's so weird. As soon as you mentioned that, I just started salivating thinking about. Well, okay, I'm torn because, I have a lot of favorite foods, and I'm really bad with favorites in the first place. I'll pick one potential. Would be, well, actually, what if you guess my answer?
Oh, shoot. Okay.
What do you think?
That's
what do you think I would
good
say?
Question. This is I didn't expect this to happen.
Flip it back at you.
Ramen?
No, but that is a good one. That's on the top.
Brazilian barbecue?
That's on the top too, but not the one meal. Okay, I'll just tell you.
Wait, hazelnut gelato?
You can't just eat that as a meal. That's not food.
I don't know.
I mean, that's dessert.
Some people could argue.
It's 粽子.
Oh.
Which
what does that mean for our non-Taiwanese, non-Chinese audience?
Yes, if you're Taiwanese, you know what I'm talking about, or Chinese. It's the sticky rice wrapped in lotus leaves. That's very popular during like autumn, mid-autumn festival time, and it's like a tradition in Asian culture to wrap sticky rice, and you often put like meats or peanuts and eggs, and it's just so good. And there's this one lady here in the South Bay who makes it out of her house, and I only exclusively get 粽子from her, or my mom does, and then I get it from my mom.
Wow.
But it's so good.
How do you pronounce it again?
粽子.
Can you say it one more time?
粽子.
粽子.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. I'm being introduced to this culture. I love it. Okay. Awesome.
Nice.
Let's get a little deeper.
Okay.
And a little bit more embarrassing. So this was actually submitted from one of our friends. What's an embarrassing moment you've had with me?
Wait, like together with you or like in front of you or
You can interpret
oh my
it any way that
gosh.
you want.
How do I choose? With you. Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like my head, I don't know, does this happen to you where your brain tends to just block out embarrassing memories because you're trying to move on and forget about it? So I know there's plenty. Like there's probably one a day or
Yeah.
once every other day, and I'm blanking right now, but
Is there anything embarrassing in public?
are you thinking of
me?
a particular one?
No, I'm not. I mean, we have embarrassing moments with each other, but over time, as you're married, they're not the embarrassing moments aren't as embarrassing anymore.
Exactly. I'm like, what's embarrassing? It's not even embarrassing.
It's like, oh, I farted. Oh, whatever.
All right. Anyway, on that note, let me think if there's an embarrassing one I've had together with you. Oh my gosh, I'm cringing so hard. I don't want to relive it. Okay, I'll just really quickly.
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah.
Wait, can you give me a hint?
I think you already know.
I really don't know.
Where is it? That happened recently, like a few weeks ago. That we were like, oh my gosh, we can't believe we did this.
I'm really blanking out right now.
Okay, yeah. See, our brains do that. It's a protective coping mechanism. So basically, Alex and I have been invited to a lot of weddings the past year and next year as well because COVID and it's been backed up. So yeah, we love weddings. We love celebrating love. We love.
I'm trying to follow this trail, but I'm not coming
It's okay.
to the memory.
It's okay. You'll know when I get there. So basically, we had all these weddings booked this year. We had like literally a marathon of weddings, like consecutive weekends, plus mixed in with graduations, plus goodbye parties, plus just a bunch of events, like all consecutively. And typically, when we RSVP for a wedding, we will put it on our calendar. You know where I'm going now.
Yes, I do remember this.
We'll put it on our calendar as soon as we RSVP. But sometimes Google Calendar just glitches. I don't know. Like sometimes it doesn't show up, or maybe like we're absent-minded. Who knows what happened? I still don't know to this day.
In this case, it was absent-mindedness.
Maybe. I don't know. But I think, it was just long story short, okay, we had this wedding, but we had a bunch of other weddings too, and then we in our heads were like, okay, like at the end of this month we have another wedding, blah blah blah, and then typically you also get like emails from the wedding, whoever's getting married to like be like reminders and dress warm or dress whatever. So we didn't get any of that. Not blaming, like if that person listens, not blaming at all, but it was very different. It was like we did not expect. So basically, we were hanging out with a couple, and then we did some errands. We had a full day, and then I look at my Instagram story, just glancing, and I try not to be on Instagram too much, like on social media. So I just glance like real quick at the end, near the end of the day, and on an Instagram story, I'm like, why is this person going to at the wedding that we're going to at the end of the month? And I was just so confused because I was like, did they have like a early like rehearsal thing but then this person's like not in their wedding party? And I looked at Alex, I was like, is that wedding today? And so it was like late. It was like probably 7-8 o'clock. We were driving home.
I think it was later than that.
We were driving home. We couldn't find any emails or anything in our phones about it, like the date. So we rushed home. We checked our computer. We managed to find in our task management thing the date. And we're like, oh my gosh, that wedding is literally today. And both of us had no idea, or like it just slipped because we thought we got mixed up with another wedding we were going to like a week from then. And so we hurried up. I was sweating because we had a workout, and then I jumped in the shower, got out real quick. My hair was still wet. We zoomed Mission Impossible to the wedding venue, and we're like, okay, what's the plan? If people are leaving, let's just leave as well. It's better not to show up than to show our faces. But we ended up showing up, and they were still having a good time. And the best part was the bride and groom were so gracious because I felt terrible and I was so embarrassed. I was like, this is just shameful, just bad.
Wow.
I'm reliving that and sweating right now. So
yeah. Keep in mind, this wedding started at 5:30. We arrived at 9 p.m.
yeah. So the whole time, and it was like, I mean, it wasn't far, but it wasn't close. So the whole time we were like, what if it's over?
We've
But-
never missed a wedding
Yeah.
in our lives.
Right. Yeah. So if you ever invite us to your wedding, please, it would be greatly appreciated if you send an email reminder the week up. Because there's a lot going on in life, okay? Anyway, we've learned from that.
Wow. Man, that was scarring. No wonder I didn't think of that. It was too embarrassing. Okay. What's a secret you have that even I don't know?
That's really hard because I feel like we're open books. I've shared with you my deepest, darkest secrets. A secret? I mean, do you have any? I feel like both of us are. If I can't think of one, can you share one?
What? It's about you.
I can't. Let me think. I told you all my embarrassing life stories already. When I mean, did I tell you about? No, that's not a secret. That's just like another cringy, embarrassing moment. I don't want to relive that. A secret. Oh, did I tell you that before we started dating and we were talking long distance, I like deep stalked you, including like blog posts you wrote from like your high school days probably or college days?
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, okay. Well, that was pretty funny to me because I was like in the weeds, like investigating, like who is this guy? Is he crazy or not? Okay. I really can't think of one. Can I skip this one?
Yeah, you may.
Okay, thank you. I'm really not. I'm not trying to avoid. I genuinely can't.
That's
We
good.
share everything. We literally share.
That's
We're
good.
an
We
open
have
book.
a
We don't have
very
secrets.
transparent marriage.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, farting. Like, there's no limits.
Yeah, I think I've told Grace all of my embarrassing bathroom
Yeah.
need to go pee embarrassing moments.
I mean, did I tell you? I think I told you. Yeah, I told you about that time I peed my pants in high school.
Yeah, there was one time.
Wait, you don't have to tell people.
Oh, no, this is about me.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I mean it's not that embarrassing. It's to me it's normal. But yeah, in college I was hanging out at the beach and there were no bathrooms around, and so I was just like running everywhere trying to find the bathroom.
And Alex,
and I don't know.
drinks a lot of water.
I drink a lot of water, and there was nothing around. And I think what I was wearing was like light blue jeans or something. So it's obviously you can see where this is going.
The worst.
So yeah, I just had a very heavy bladder, and then I'm like,
That's the
should I
worst
drive
feeling.
home? What? So I'm at this place called Newport Beach, and then my home at the time was about probably like 20-30 minutes away. And so I was calculating, okay, if I make it to my car and then drive there, I'm doing like risk analysis. Will I make it? And the answer is
no.
I 100% will not make it.
Oh my god, that's the worst
and
feeling.
so I had to just surrender to my feelings, and I was in a neighborhood, and so there were like a bunch of townhouses with garages.
Oh my gosh, I hope they don't sue you.
I just went pee in front of someone. I just let it out in front of someone's yard or their garage. And then
Great.
Yeah. There's plenty more of those
Okay,
stories.
we'll have a lot. We'll have a chance for on your birthday. We can share all this,
Okay.
all the bathroom stories.
When was the last time you laughed until you cried?
Oh my gosh. I think it was last week when we were watching. So okay, right now when we're recording this, the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer just came out. And if you're not in the meme world or like looking on social media, there is a huge thing called Barbenheimer. Okay, it is so funny because basically these two movies are complete. It's like black and white, complete contrast, and they're coming out on the same day, and they're hugely like marketed. There's a lot of hype for both the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer, which is directed by Christopher Nolan, like who's like an epic director. Same with Greta Gerwig. Gerwig, yeah. Anyway, so I was just laughing so hard at these memes, these like fake trailers people are making, like Barbie trailer in Oppenheimer style, Oppenheimer trailer in Barbie style. And there's this one video. You'll have to look it up, or maybe, yeah, I don't know if I'll link it. It's not that important, but this one guy created the ultimate guide to watching, to Barbenheimer Day 2023, and oh my gosh, guys, I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe. I was crying.
Haven't seen her laugh this much in a while.
I was crying, and I was like, this is so hilarious because it just gets more and more ridiculous, and I just won't spoil it. You have to go watch. But I like memes, and I love the creativity of the internet, even though it's like really weird, but I love it.
What about that is funny?
Are you psychoanalyzing my
I'm just wondering.
It's just the creative genius. I like how it's like not what you expect. It's different. You know, other people are creating all these like mashups, but this guy just like creates this very, it's serious. It acts like it's serious, but it's so ridiculous that it's obviously not. So it's like that juxtaposition is just hilarious to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually is pretty
and
hilarious.
It's like low quality production and editing, which makes it even funnier because it's just like he doesn't take himself seriously at all. And his channel says something like, I just make videos about whatever I want or something. It's like so.
Yeah, I do remember that. He was giving us a guide of how to watch Barbie and Oppenheimer. Like, there's a Barbie sandwich, Oppenheimer.
Don't spoil it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's okay if they haven't seen it though. I mean, by the time this is released, Barbie and Oppenheimer would have
died.
Not died, but would have been in theaters for a while.
Yeah. Anyway, we haven't seen it yet. We booked tickets to watch Oppenheimer next week.
Yep.
Or this week. This week.
Oppenheimer.
Alex has been obsessed.
My biggest concern is not peeing for 3 hours.
Back to the bathroom. Back to your bladder issues.
I drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question.
Okay.
Who would be your dream podcast guest? If you had a magic wand, who would you summon?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. There's so many.
I hope this person watches this.
I doubt it. But oh my gosh, there's so many. But the first person can you guess? I keep wanting Alex to guess, and he's has no idea. I think you can get this one.
Jeremy Lin?
What? I already interviewed him. No.
Oh, whoa, sorry.
No, this person, I wanted to interview someone I've never talked to or interviewed.
Can I get a hint?
We like this person's podcast a lot.
We like this person's podcast. I don't actually...
Alex is obsessed with this podcast, and I don't know why he can't think of it.
Ramit? Sethi?
No! The other guy.
Dave Ramsey?
Steven Bartlett.
Oh, Steven Bartlett. Diary of a CEO.
Why did you not think of that? That's like your favorite podcast.
Yeah, because he's, from what we know, observing it from the outside in, he's not a follower of Jesus.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think of like this podcast. I just thought like a podcast in general.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because he's always interviewing other people, and I would love to interview him.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I would want to interview him too.
Okay. Oh, if it's a Christian. Okay, let me think.
Okay, so
like
if anyone, Steven Bartlett from Diary of a CEO.
But if it's like a Christian person, I do have this person on my dream list. Actually, I have two authors. One author.
Authors? Books?
Yes. One is the author of the book you're reading.
John Bevere.
Mm-hmm.
Good one.
And or Lisa, his wife. He's amazing. Or Francis Chan.
Wow. Francis Chan.
I love them. They're just so passionate, authentic, genuine. When you listen to their messages or their teaching, you're just like, man, I'm sold out for Jesus. Like this is all I need to live for. So
Wow, that's good.
and they always stretch you. They challenge you to like really go deep in your faith with God.
You know, I actually really think that's possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not.
You have
Yeah.
faith for me.
Yeah, gives of faith.
That I don't have for myself.
Okay. If you were to rewind 1 year, what would you tell your past self?
Ooh,
So July 20,
that's
at
so
the
hard.
time of this recording, July 2021. Well, 2022, sorry.
Did you forget what year it is?
Yes.
Oh man. Oh, I think this week last year was the Maverick tour.
Yeah.
So this will be another
Fun
story.
fact.
Yeah. So I was touring with the Maverick City Gospel Choir last year at this time, literally this week. And this weekend was when my message for our church came out too. It was like we were pre-recorded a sermon that I delivered that was literally like a full circle God story of like how the message I was preaching was exactly related to what I was doing with the Maverick City Choir. Anyway, it's a long story. But I think what I would have told because back then I was also going through kind of a crisis. Not a crisis, but just like starting to question. I think it's a bit like I haven't seen the Barbie movie, but I heard that Barbie was there's inspiration from the Truman Show. Have you seen the Truman Show? The movie with Jim Carrey, I think.
No.
Okay.
I just think of Harry Truman, but I don't think that's it.
No. It's I mean, I watched it in film class in college, but it's basically like really trippy because it's like this guy in his bubble, in his world, he feels like everything's normal, and then he realizes like, wait, is this real life? And then he realizes he's actually on a show about him, and everything he's experiencing is like not what he thought, basically. So I was kind of having not like in a bad way, but I was just literally like questioning, like, wait, is what I'm like thinking, like, is how I view myself actually who I am? So I was just like really questioning, like, what's going on? Like, I haven't been connecting with God lately. And then this gospel choir tour literally came at such a good time because it brought me so much joy and freedom. It took me out of my usual routine and box. And I think I would have told that girl, like, don't worry because it's all gonna work out. Because I was kind of like, I have no idea what's happening, but okay. And then enjoying my time, but at the same time being like nervous and, honestly scared at the same time, like all the feelings.
That was a fun couple weeks.
It was so fun. Yeah, that month was just super fun. I feel like God is so gracious. He gives us like experiences that are so timely during like the times that he knows we need it. And I felt like that was it was like restful because we also got away and like, got an Airbnb, and the Airbnb turned out to be these amazing believers who we still keep in touch today, and they are like building a ministry too, and we got ministered to, and it was like refreshing, not just like for the fun side of it, but also like ministry side of being part of the gospel choir and experiencing that. Same with Kirk Franklin and like Maverick City Music, which was our favorite worship band last year. Not in a weird, I didn't mean to say that in a weird way, like we don't like them anymore. We just haven't been listening to them as much relative to last year. I got really tired of the songs after the tour.
It's okay. You can.
I feel bad saying that. I was just like, I've literally practiced and rehearsed these songs so many times. My Spotify wrap up was like Maverick, Maverick, Maverick. Anyway, so yeah, it was just really refreshing, and I just would have told myself, stop worrying so much. I feel like I always would tell myself that, no matter what, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 2 weeks ago. Just don't worry so
That's
much.
good. Yeah, I remember that week or two. I also got to see some of my closest friends
Yeah.
who just happened to be in some
Those cities.
same in the cities that we got to tour around in
Right.
Orange County
And it wasn't
and Las
planned with them.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't planned. It was just wow.
So life-giving. It felt like God. It felt like even though we were going on like the tour with Maverick City's schedule, but it really honestly felt like a divine tour that God orchestrated for us too, like as a couple, based on like what he knew we needed. And I'm just so grateful. I feel that was a time. That was great.
Yeah, that was the time. Okay, next question.
Okay.
Let's get deeper.
Oh my gosh.
What's a dream for the future that you have?
Like in general?
Mhm.
Or okay.
Yep. Just blue sky. What's a dream?
There's a lot.
Grace is a dreamer.
I will just pick one. I think one of the biggest dreams I personally have is for our future family that we raise. You know, we don't have kids yet, but this has been on my heart and mind like before I even met Alex, like just that desire for like a, not just a God-centered life, but God-centered marriage, but also God-centered family to like raise kids with in an environment, an atmosphere that really makes them feel God's love and know God personally, and not like shoving, you know, like you have to believe this or that, but just like really authentically like raising kids up in the ways of God and like showing them, reflecting through us and also myself personally, like showing them God's love and compassion and grace in ways that I feel like, I mean, we got loved ourselves through our parents in different ways, but I feel like, you know, our parents aren't Christian, or like my dad's not Christian, your parents aren't Christian. So like having a Christ-centered, God-glorifying, God-honoring household, I feel like is just a totally different way of like raising a family. And I'm excited for that. That's my dream, is to be present as a future mom and a wife, and just to be there committed to our family to create a legacy, of a generational legacy where our kids, you know, hopefully, I can't control it and we can't control what will happen to them, but I can just picture like the seeds that we're planting now in our own lives are going to bear fruit for generations to come, and not just in one generation like for our kids, but like the impact will trickle down. That's my hope for like their kids and their kids and their kids.
Dang. I have a big father responsibilities, which is an honor. So, follow-up question.
Okay.
Ideally, how many kids do you want and what gender split?
What? I mean, we always talk about like, oh, maybe like 2 or 3, and then we'll see. Like, it's hard to say. I think both of us don't really want one because both of us are only children, and nothing wrong with being an only child, but
I definitely want at least a boy, so we can play basketball together, and of course raise a godly family.
Yeah, but we were talking about how when you're an only child, there's like so much pressure when you get older, when the child's parents get older, like, you know. So I think both of us, and also it's just nice to have like a tribe, like a fellowship in your home, in your family. So
that's true.
So I think at least 2 or 3, maybe 4. I don't know because neither of us have had big families, so we'll see. We'll just see as we go.
4 is like my extended family plus my immediate family. That's
Your
an
entire
exaggeration.
family tree.
It's pretty small.
Yeah.
Wow.
And oh yeah, gender split. I don't really mind. I think whatever God wants, but I mean, it'd be great to have like a mix, like, you know, 2 boys, 2 girls, or I haven't thought about gender split because it hasn't, because I can't control it. Like, why would I?
That's good.
Why would I think about
That's good.
And be like, oh darn, it's a boy. Like, what? That's messed up.
Yeah, that's good that you think that way. What's your favorite trait about me?
Why did you say it like that?
And what's your favorite trait about yourself?
Oh, that's too hard to pick just one about you.
Aw.
I think one of my many favorite traits about you is just how you really exude empathy and compassion. Like you literally
Hear that, guys?
you embody like I remember when we were dating and you would just often say things like, if I'm going through a hard time or someone else is going through a hard time, I thought it was so weird how you were like, "Oh, I understand. Oh, that's hard." Like you would just say things like that. And I'd be like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? Like, why doesn't he help offer some solutions? Or like, I'm over here like very used to just jumping to like, oh, but it's okay. This is going to happen. Or you can do this. Or have you thought of this? So I was always kind of like, because that's just what I was raised and like what I was conditioned was just like look on the bright side and like offer hope and solutions. Which yes, that is very very helpful. But there's also a need I've learned from Alex to really enter into someone's pain with them and like allow them to feel validated. And I feel like that's one of my favorite traits. Are you yawning while I'm affirming you?
No. Just, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Just tired.
I retract everything I just said. I'm just kidding.
I actually don't think yawning is a sign of boredom. I think it's just you're tired.
Nice
Or
try. My favorite trait about Alex is not that he yawns while I'm affirming him. But yeah, I think, anyway, I was just telling Alex the other day, we were walking, doing our daily walk, and I was telling him how I'm so thankful for how you literally like have showed me God's grace and compassion and love in a way I never knew was possible. Like I've never experienced that from any person or anyone, any situation. Like it was all for so long it was theoretical, and then I met you and I over time understood what that actually means in my heart through you and the way that you love me. So, not that you're God, but it's like you really reflect God's love, compassion, empathy in a way that few people I feel are really able to do in the same way.
wow. Thanks, babe. Wow, that was very sweet.
Of course. Okay, myself. So many things. I'm just kidding. I think my favorite trait about myself would be I'm just different.
So your favorite trait is you don't fit in a
I
box.
guess like I'm just grateful. I feel like my mom really instilled this in me when I was growing up like don't be afraid to be different. Like it's a good thing to be different, but I never knew how to combine that like the embracing of being different with my authentic self because I it wasn't until like recently in recent years that I've started to really truly learn how to connect with my authentic self. So like the combination of both that I feel like I now have learned a lot more, and I'm not perfect. I think we're all always works in progress when it comes to this, but just like learning to embrace my unique authentic differences and actually embracing it versus in the past I'd be like, oh yeah, that's great, but then inside I would still crave like acceptance or fitting in, but I think I've just seen and experienced too many good things that come out of me being different, being unconventional, thinking unconventionally, and I used to feel out of place or excluded, but I think with just time and life you just realize that's exactly what sets you apart and makes you even more valuable because you are unique and you can't like other people can't bring what you uniquely bring. And I feel like I always kind of just dismiss that like, oh yeah, that's people say that, but I'd rather be, like so and so. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that about you. Even this podcast is very different than what we're used to.
Mhm. Yep.
Wow. Okay, we'll do 2 more questions.
Okay.
What is the biggest misconception that you think others have of you?
Mm, there's a lot. I think one. Ooh, actually, I'll share one, and then you share one about me that you think, because you know me the best.
Oh man. Okay, share yours, and hopefully I'll think of something different.
Okay. Um, I think one. Actually, I was thinking about this recently because I was journaling. A couple days ago, I had like a mini, like a short retreat with myself and with God, and I was just journaling and reflecting on like other people's perception of me versus like who I've come to discover I truly am. And I feel like one thing I used to hear a lot that would, now looking back, I realize why it felt weird to me, because I used to be like, why do they say that? Which was the phrase high capacity. Like, you're like, I remember distinctly this one conversation with someone who I wasn't really that close to. And we were just in conversation one time. I forgot how it came up, but he basically said, "Oh yeah, but that's no problem for you because I know you're like super high capacity." And then I was like, "Oh, like what do you mean?" And he's like, "You know, you're high capacity. You can like handle like a lot." And then I was like thinking about that. I mean, I was like, okay, cool, thank you. I took it as a compliment back then because I was like, oh, that's great. I guess I am high capacity because I do a lot. But I think I had this really good multiple conversations with Alan George, one of our speakers, previous guests on this podcast, episode 15, I think, about spiritual formation. And we had a series of coaching conversations where he was also even sharing his own experience of like, sometimes we assume someone's high capacity, but they're not actually operating out of rest. Like they're operating past their true capacity for unhealthy reasons, and it's damaging their souls. But no one on the outside can see that. And so for a long time, I because other people said I was high capacity, was like, I guess I am high capacity. And I would just like push myself continually past my limits because I was like, I don't need to rest as much as other people. I can handle more things than other people. And I do think objectively, I do still think, yeah, maybe relative to some other people, I can handle and do more. But what I'm trying to say is like, I'm not as high capacity as like the kind of person I thought I was based on what other people said about me, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, there's a lot of like learning I had to do about like my energy, like managing my energy, checking in with my soul. And if you had asked me all those years ago when that guy said I'm high capacity, I had no idea I had no recognition of like the engine lights of the car of my soul.
Ooh, engine lights of your soul. I
Yeah.
haven't heard that before.
Yeah, like how when you're driving a car, it'll be like, turn a light on like you need maintenance or oil change or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when those things happen, you're more careful with your car. But how I was operating was I had all these lights going off and I just ignored them because I was like, that light's broken. Like it doesn't really mean anything. And I would just keep going in ways that I mean, I'm glad. I don't regret anything I did, like, and everything I helped do. But I'm just so much more thankful that now I'm aware of like, how's my soul doing? What do I need to make sure my tank is full?
Yeah, I think that belief probably got reinforced too during childhood because you grew up in a Asian American household in a very high achieving area in the Bay Area. So
Yeah.
just
So everyone's high
culturally,
achieving.
society, just the structures reinforce
Right.
that belief system in you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so you've believed it.
Because especially if you're like applying to colleges, I mean, I don't know how it is right now, but like back then, you would go to all these Asian immigrant parents all go to these like college prep, like get into Harvard, like boot camps. Like literally they would have weekend seminars about how to get into Harvard. And I remember my mom and my dad would like take me to a few of those, like not into Harvard, but just like preparing for college, which is a good thing. But it was so intimidating because they were like showing these real resumes of students who like did 10 extracurriculars, got all straight A's, you know, a high GPA, and still didn't get into these top schools. And so the takeaway that they often would tell you is you have to really stand out. Your kid needs to be like a superstar. So I think for me, again, being an only child of being like, you know, the golden child of your family, it's like a lot of pressure that you put on yourself to be like, wow, I gotta make my family and myself proud by like really going above and beyond compared to all the competition out there.
Wow. Yeah, I knew that about you.
I'm just sharing for the listeners.
Yes. What
Last
I
question.
think
Okay.
is a
yes. What do you think is a misconception?
I mean, we can skip me if you
That
want.
is a really hard word. Misconception. No, I want to hear.
I mean, there's a few. One that really stands, or one that really comes to mind, is how people think you're an extrovert.
Yeah. I felt like that was an obvious one, but maybe not that obvious to other people. But yeah, you can describe more.
Yeah. I think so. You went to Australia in 2018?
2017, 2018? I forget.
Yeah, you spent like 1 year in Australia, but before that, you were like the star at UC Berkeley, and you were just like you had a lot of leadership and just a lot of influence. And then coming out of college, you were plugged into a lot of faith and work stuff, events. Just you were like in the intersection of all the activities happening. Then you went to Australia and you took a pause and you got to reassess your engine lights a bit there.
Yeah.
And then you came back to the Bay Area because of a boy you met. Not sure who that is. Just kidding. A man. He's a man. And I think that time in Australia really revealed your true personality, that you actually do like to keep it chill and slow, and you're not really meant to do like a bunch of activities and be plugged into so many different social circles. But honestly, like being married to you, you're definitely you definitely get energy from being alone and doing your quiet time in what we call it the cloud or our bed. But
I get so many revelations, when I'm doing quiet time there. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Thanks for psychoanalyzing me. I think that definitely was the spark, because it was like taking me away from like an environment of doing or other pressures of doing. Because like even when I lived in, I think before Australia, the only other place outside of the Bay Area that I had lived was Wisconsin, which is still the United States, and still like I was there for an internship, so I was still doing stuff, you know, like I felt productive. And I think in Australia, even though I was working, the culture was just so different from America, where people actually like love enjoying like life and are more relaxed. Their schedules aren't packed to the brim, and it just wasn't what I was used to. So I was like questioning, like, who am I if I'm not doing a bunch of stuff? And I kept asking God, like, I thought you sent me here for your purposes and your mission. And like, how come I'm not seeing the impact that I'm supposed to be doing? Or how come I don't know, like, you know, am I supposed to lead at church or lead a ministry or whatever? Because I'm so used to like, that was so ingrained in my self-worth of myself. And I didn't even know it at the time. But little did I know what I thought was the purpose that I wanted. I wanted God to give me a purpose outside of myself. But in that season, God's purpose for me was really to find myself in Him and to know that my value, my identity isn't in all the doing and the stuff that I was conditioned to believe that I needed to do to feel worthy. And it was really hard. It shook me to my core because I was like so confused and lost, but I was also so intimate with God, and it drew me closer to Him in ways I had never experienced. And you're right. Like now that you put it that way, like I think it was there that I started to realize and grapple with like who am I if I am not, Grace, who leads or does or, works in whatever. And I feel like God teaches that lesson in different ways and different degrees throughout the years. And that was a glimpse of it. And then now I feel like it's another level, like even deeper into that.
Yeah.
But you're right. I am an introvert. So, and okay, actually, the last thing I'll say about this is now that you say that, that makes sense why even my closest friends in college, I remember I would tell them, or after college, like post college, I would tell them that I am actually an introvert and no one believed me. Like none of like my close friends, people I hung out with all the time, lived with, talked to, they all said they're like, "No, you're definitely an extrovert." And I was like how does no one see this? And then it wasn't until later that I realized, oh, it's because like I feel so like that's the expectation other people have of me. So then I just like modify my personality to fit what other people expect of me rather than allow myself to just be my true self, which is a continued work in progress. But
Yes. Okay.
long answer to your question.
Always a story to everything. Okay, last question to wrap it all up.
Okay.
What is your biggest wish or hope for the next year?
So like by this time 2024, like what would I have wished would happen?
Yes.
My biggest one. That's hard. I always have like things that I'm praying for and asking God for, but I feel like honestly, I think I'm bad at favorites, so I'm not gonna say like this is my number one biggest, but I think one of the biggest things I am hoping for in this next year is just more and more breakthrough when it comes to my core, like being strong at my core about like my worth in God. Because I feel like this year especially, he's been teaching me that a lot. Like if you're not a clearly defined title at work, if you're not working for a prestigious company, if you're not visible and producing outcomes that are impressive to other people and also easily understood and praised by other people, it really strips away a lot of things that you didn't even realize that you were standing on. And so I feel like that's been the journey God's been taking me on. And you've also witnessed this in me of how I've been wrestling, but also just step by step, just learning and growing. And then I was telling a friend last week when we were catching up about like, it's just crazy because you don't know how much you're growing until you're down the line months later and you're like, I'm a completely different person from who I was before.
Even years.
Yeah, years, months, whatever. And like I was just reflecting on the person I was January 2023 versus July 2023, and I am different, like by a lot, in terms of a good different. And so I'm excited. I feel like that's my hope, is that I would continue growing in these areas where I've in the past felt stuck, felt hopeless, felt frustrated by, in terms of my like worth and identity, and just wanting to find my true identity and worth in God. And I mean, I feel like I have that, but it's like it can always be so much deeper. And I think that the deeper it is, the more I'm going to be able to be an open vessel for God about like, whatever he wants me to do. And actually, this reminds me of like what we said, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, where I told you in the car, I think I was like, my goal is to be able to feel the exact same whether I get 1 million likes on a post or followers or subscribers or whatever, as I would if I got 0, and that might sound kind of like vain. I don't know, but it's honestly hard. Like imagine if you got 1 million subscribers overnight, like you would, or followers or whatever, you would probably feel pretty good about yourself. And because we were just talking about how it's so easy to measure success by what other people can see on the outside, when really true success is simple obedience to God, even if no one else sees or can praise you for it. And
that's good. See,
it's just
there
hard.
are lessons in this episode.
Yeah, I guess so. yeah, so I just want more of that because the stronghold that I've had for so much of my life has been a deep seated need and desire for like approval or a validation or praise. And even though I've come such a long way, I can still see glimmers of how the enemy tries to like pull me away from walking out in the fullness of what God wants me to do, because I'm still hesitant about like what will people think and how will they judge me, and like, you know, trying to fit into expectations that I perceive other people have of me.
Wow. That's
That was
good.
really deep.
That's a deep one. And we'll end it there.
Okay, cool.
What would any last words that you would like to tell our listeners and viewers?
Nope. Well, thanks for interviewing me. I feel honored. Yeah, my birthday wish, if anybody is wondering,
When is your birthday? Exactly.
August 18th. So it'll be this, if this comes out on Monday, I think it'll be this Friday. My birthday wish is honestly if you could just share this podcast with a friend. Because we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, prayers, spiritual nourishment, all into this. And so yeah, we just genuinely want to inspire people with the things that we share, like genuinely in these conversations. So yeah, it doesn't need to be this episode. It might be weird to them because they're like, why is this girl sharing her or her husband sharing bladder stories? It might not make a good first impression, but if there's a past episode you've listened to or you are new and you want to check out another episode, like it would make my birthday awesome. I would love you I already love you, but I'd be so grateful to you if you shared this podcast with a friend or two or on social media. Tag us if you share it on social media. It will make me very happy and I feel loved. So
great.
Yeah, but no pressure. I still love you regardless.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening and viewing.
Yes.
We'll catch you all next time.
Yes.